Hey guys, Riley Spanish here, and I picked up today a very large collection, about 1,800 cards. Honestly, it kind of looked like junk from the listing, but I saw some indicators that it was going to be something I liked, so I definitely took a bit of a gamble on it. It was, I want to say, 140 bucks, but it was definitely worth it. Now, it's going to be quite an ordeal to go through it all, but I have kind of sorted it into categories, into piles. Um, so I got rid of all the super damaged stuff and isolated everything kind of by what it is. This is all Wizards of the Coast energies. I do set these aside. I've gotten, a couple hundred of them in a pile now, and I'll probably just sell them off as a bulk lot. Then here, let me go about this the best way possible. This here is all of the Wizards of the Coast vintage, so the oldest of it. The Haunter Legendary Collection. It's a lot of base set, Neo, Fossil, a little bit of Gem. The usual suspects. I'll go through this a little better. Probably, donate or bulk out a lot of the stuff that's like really beat up. But for the most part, it's all decent, moderately played. There was a handful of like German, Italian, French, and a tiny bit of Japanese. I've set all of that aside into its own pile because I kind of, that's not really something that I could sell on TCG Player or anything like that. I'll just kind of list it all together as one big bulk lot. I am saving the spiciest of all this stuff for the end of this video though, so make sure you stick around for that. But there's a handful of cards like that Item Finder Trainer from base set that is worth a couple dollars just on its own. And then I consider, at the very least, vintage bulk, 25 cents per card if it's not like anything too desirable or if it's not in the best condition. But right there, that's at least 70 WotC cards I've already gone through. Nothing too crazy that's going to jump out at you here, but a handful of rares, rare non-holos, and some Neo, some Gem, some of that stuff that's a little less printed than base Jungle Fossil. Promo Misdreavus. Of course, with these trainers, I have to go through and check if any of them are shadowless, because you can only tell that by the date on the bottom. If it's a shadowless trainer, it'll say the normal trademark like these do. I guess a fossil card isn't the best example. Normal trademark, but down there it says 1995, 96, 98. It will also say 99. Oops. Just knocked over one of my piles. It'll also say 99 in that same exact list of numbers, though. This is what I get for trying to talk with my hands, though. Anyways, no harm, no foul. That was easy to pick up. This Brock's Protection, rare from Gym Challenge, worth a couple bucks. Just a couple odds and ends. Clefairy Doll, worth a few dollars. Stuff that's nothing too crazy. Another Item Finder. But yeah, if any of those are shadowless, that doesn't make them worth a ton more. But I like to switch out the ones in my personal collection for shadowless when I acquire them. Just because I think it would be cool to have it as shadowless as possible, my base set. But I'm not going for a full set of shadowless necessarily. I did check all the Diglets and Krabbies for the potential errors that those cards can have. Did not find any. The Diglett one is the fighting energy being flipped on its side. This card is really rough. But I did keep it because it is a vintage rare. Most of the stuff I got rid of was either so far gone that I just couldn't justify even like donating it, or it was just like not old enough to really be worth saving a damaged card. And that is it for the normal Wizards of the Coast stuff. And I will get into the e-reader Wizards of the Coast shortly. But let me actually adjust the camera down a little bit so you can get a better scope. This entire stack here is like Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. So kind of the way I sort that, the Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and Heart Gold, Soul Silver, I believe as well, all had like a level next to the Pokemon's name. So all these have that. All of the Holos I've separated, so you're not going to see any Holos in these, but lot of starter Pokemon. There's a Leafeon, just a bunch of stuff that is potentially, you know, going to be worth isolating and listing on its own. I haven't decided how in-depth I want to get with putting this stuff in my store. Especially this stuff, because none of it is, you know, worth a crazy amount. The Diamond, Pearl, Platinum era, outside of Holos and stuff. There's first stack of that. It is all quite old, though. I mean, I think this is like 07 to 09, somewhere in that realm. But I'm at least going to separate all of the rares, see if they are, you know, anything worth setting aside or listing. The starters, you know, the Squirtles, Charmanders, Pikachus, stuff like that. Anything that's like a popular Pokemon. There's a Giratina. I actually did look this one up out of curiosity because it's just like a, you know, a heavily played non-holo, but it is a Giratina, still in the realm of about $1.50. So, you know, things like that are just not things that I want to skip over, even if they're not worth a ton. Gengar, GL, like, they're cool cards. They're not worth a ton, but they are definitely worth separating, you know, just to kind of maximize what I can earn on this. But these are not stuff that I am personally going to try to like make complete sets of, just because it's not exactly, there's some really cool cards, but it's not exactly my favorite era. I don't know. I think that it was just kind of, you know, it was just good. It wasn't great though. It was good. I think before this and after this were really quite a bit better. But there's one by my favorite artist, the Claymations. And I know that this is going to take a while to sift through every card, but I have already done the, you know, majority of the busy work by kind of isolating what types of cards they are. And like I said, at the very end of this video, I'm going to show the craziest of the stuff. I mean, you can see on top of this pile, I know that it's a World Championship deck, but even the World Championship version of that card, that Latias Gold Star, is quite pricey. So I've looked up a few of the cards just to kind of verify my suspicions and kind of confirm that I did very, very well on this purchase. This is the Claydol that was reprinted in Celebrations as a classic collection card. Just a fun little tidbit there. Another nice Claymation. Nice Pikachu. And that is the end of the Diamond, Pearl, Platinum era stuff. And another little pile I have here. This is all old trainers. Some of them are as new as XY and Black White, but the majority of them are going to be EX era. You know, from EX Ruby, Sapphire, Sandstorm, and Dragon that are actually have the E logo, you know, all the way up through like Team Rocket Returns and stuff like that. Yeah, but Trainer cards are surprisingly valuable if you start looking them all up. Obviously, most of them are going to be not worth very much, but you'll be going through them and there'll be consistently like 25 to 50 cents per card, even with older ones. And then, like every sixth card I look up while I'm going through them is like $5 for some reason. Not exactly sure why, but like some of these artworks, this is from a EX Dragon Frontiers. Like they just have really unique and cool artwork on these like, common, uncommon trainer cards. And that is probably part of what makes them actually hold some value. And I just like them. Like these Team Rocket Return ones especially are just crazy looking. Venture Bomb. I don't know that that's actually worth anything, but I'm willing to assume that it's worth over $1 just on the principle of how cool it looks. This one, Dawn Stadium with the Leafeon and Glaceon running around. Like, there's just some super cool, like, normal art trainers in this. The Fossil Excavator. Couple of fossils. And one more pile of trainers to sift through. This Parallel City, I know that's like $5. I know that because I got one and sold it recently. But yeah, do not sleep on trainer cards. Now, if we're talking about bulk trainers in, Sword and Shield, Scarlet Violet, they're like the ones worth setting aside could be counted on two hands realistically. But when you get into older stuff like this, especially XY Black and White even, because you'll find a lot of bulk from that era. But if you go through those trainer cards and look every one of them up, you are going to be very pleasantly surprised with how many are actually worth money, especially if you do a lot of smaller cards like I do. Anyways, that is the end of the trainer cards. And then the next pile, actually I'll go through these first. I kind of isolated, these are all Delta species, where the Pokemon featured and the type that it is are different. So it's a different type than it normally would be. And there's a little bit of TCG only lore around why that is. Basically, the Holon research labs are using some sort of radio waves to try to get a Mew and Pikachu Delta species. That's a nice one, 2 of those in fact. And it kind of like mutated the local Pokemon and made them into different types. But some of them are very, very cool. A lot of them are pretty popular and worth a couple bucks. And some of the gold stars are from Delta species as well. Not that there's any like true gold stars in this lot. The only, the one that you can see in the back there, like I said, still worth money, even though it's from a World Championship deck. But that is the only gold star card that was involved in this. And I am going to kind of shift these up here as I've gone through them. So those are all the ones that are Delta species. And now we're into just normal EX era cards. So I did separate the e-reader ones into their own pile because there's a lot less of them, and those only come from, I believe, 3 sets, so it's just a lot less to sift through there. 3 or 4 sets, I think, still had the e-reader code. But yeah, a couple of Crystal Guardians Venusaur, very cool looking Ninetales. I really love a lot of the artwork in these sets, and it's going to be one of those things, like I have so much of this bulk now between what I picked up in this lot and what is, already in my possession. Should I try and put together like quasi-master sets of the old EX era? I mean, some of them are going to be really unapproachable, especially like a Team Rocket Returns. But I think some of them are pretty doable in terms of at least getting all the commons, uncommons, non-holos, and stuff like that. Another Crystal Guardians Venusaur. Tons of starter Pokemon in this lot, though. And Blossom by my favorite artist, which is a rare non-holo. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these cards are individually worth, 50 cents to $1, but, it's a lot of work to go through all of them. So it's going to take me a while to actually know how well I truly did on this lot. And everything that's kind of left over that isn't worth listing on TCG Player, if I choose to do so, I will probably just bulk out the rest, sell it kind of by era, EX era, Diamond and Pearl era, lot of 300 cards or whatever. I have done that in the past. On eBay, I might try to do it locally first because there might be some people in the local group trying to complete some of these sets. Some of these old Magma versus Aqua cards are super cool too. Like Double Crisis is sick, but I think the older version of that, Magma versus Aqua, was just a little bit cooler with its artwork. The Magma versus Aqua was a little more sterile looking. I kind of like how, gritty, CG, and weird those old Magma versus Aqua ones were. But a lot of really, really cool stuff here. And, at the very least, I think bulk of this era, it'll sell for 25 cents a piece at worst for like commons and uncommons. But, things like starters, rare non-holos, stuff like that is always worth a little bit more. Certain ones that are like favorite artworks of the set, a lot of like Komiya artworks and stuff like that are just more desirable by nature of them being cooler and probably a little less common of pulls. There's another one by my favorite artist. And these like really cartoonish, bold outlined starters that are in Crystal Guardians, I believe, tend to be worth a little bit. Not a ton, but anyhow. Just a lot of cool stuff here. But I am really, really excited to get to the best of this lot. So I'm going to kind of hurry my way through the rest of this and show why why I am very confident that I did incredibly well by purchasing this. No matter what I choose to do with all of this bulk, whether I sell it as bulk, whether I list the individual cards, keep some and sell what's left, I'm not really sure yet. I think this might be a perfect time for me to try and do quasi-master sets, but that becomes a slippery slope where I feel a need to, then start buying all the holos, EXs, and stuff like that for it, which will prove to be very expensive. That's a cool Pikachu. Anyways, this is the last of that bulk EX era cards, with the exception of the actual e-reader ones from EX Dragon, Ruby Sapphire, and Sandstorm. I don't remember. Did Emerald have the dot code on the bottom? I am not sure. Maybe it didn't. I'll have to wait and see if I see one. I know as much as my brain can possibly hold about cards, but, there's definitely a cap to that. Also, I adore this Dragonair card. You can see there's two of them. Only about a $1 card, but I'm a big fan of Dragonair. It's in my top 3 favorite Pokemon, and I don't know. It's just had some of the best artworks. I would argue that Dragonair has had cooler artworks than Dragonite. And that is it for bulk stuff. This is a pile of bulk non-English cards. But here are the best World Championship deck cards. Keep in mind, these EXs are worth money. I know that these are World Champion deck cards, not legal for play. I'd say at worst, these are worth $3 a piece. They're not damaged. They're not in good condition. Actually, that Mew's a little damaged, but like for the most part, they're heavily played, moderately played, depending on the card. But these are worth money. Like these Mews, Blastoise, Deoxys. I only know that because I've had this Regirock, I've had this Manectric before, and they were damaged, and they sold for $5 to $10 each. I don't remember exactly how much, so I can only imagine that Blastoise, Mew, maybe Lugia and Deoxys are going to be worth more because they're way more popular of Pokemon. I do have what I assume is like the entire deck. I did isolate and set aside the energies. I will look these up to see if any of them are worth anything. I'm not counting on that for the bulk though. But what would have been the ultra rares, absolutely worth money. Do not sleep on those if you find them in a collection. One cool holo energy, grass type energy. And then here's the star of the show. Let's get that over with. It's actually not the most valuable card in this lot, but even in this condition, this card is worth about $45 to $50 just because it's a gold star. Even though it is a World Championship deck version, it is still worth a great amount of money. I was looking at last solds, in varying conditions and what it's listed at, and it's all been right around $50 for this card. So, don't sleep on the World Championships. Anyways, go through the Aquapolis. I believe there's like a Skyridge, maybe a Expedition card in here, but we've got Aquapolis Sea King, Drowsy, Pinsir, Oracle from Skyridge. That's the Skyridge one. Reverse Holo Pokemon Fan Club. Obviously, it's scuffed and, played, heavily played. It's like $10 in a Reverse Holo and heavily played. Probably not getting rid of that, though. A Skyridge Holo. Aquapolis Holo. Definitely has some wear on the edges, but it is not bad. This card is like $30 to $35 in its current condition. Now, this is obviously going in the personal collection because I don't really have any of the Aquapolis Holos yet, so definitely need it, but insane that this was in there. Scyther from Aquapolis, Slowpoke, Metapod from Expedition, Aquapolis Nidorino, Ariados, Town Volunteers, with that like super classic Sugimori artwork. Ponyta, Apricorn Forest, super sick. I love this. It's just super unique artwork. I love these old e-readers. This is a non-holo rare. I'm assuming, it's actually worth quite a few dollars there. Pokemon Park, that was reprinted as a pop series, I believe. Octillery and Cubone. So that is it for the Aquapolis Expedition Skyridge. And on to some equally spicy stuff. These are all the holos and reverse holos. Crystal Guardians Holo Wigglytuff. McDonald's Furfrou, probably not that crazy. Holo Delcatty. I don't know what set that is. That might be early Diamond Pearl or late. No, this is EX era. I don't know what that set symbol is, to be honest. Late EX era. The EX era has these little circles along the top of the card there. And Diamond and Pearl has the level, like I was explaining earlier. Reverse Holo Crystal Guardians Jigglypuff. Another Holo Wigglytuff. Fire Red Leaf Green Pidgeot Holo. McDonald's Axew. Pop Series 2 Tauros. Another one. Pop Series 2 Pidgeot Holo. Reverse Holo Ditto from Fire Red Leaf Green. Now the reverse holos from Fire Red Leaf Green have this pattern, and if they're a rare reverse holo, they have it as a like an embossed Pokeball in the background of the text area. If it's a rare reverse holo. McDonald's Fletchling, Crystal Guardians Reverse, Holon Phantoms Execute Reverse, Dragon Frontiers Bayleaf Delta Species Reverse, Dragon Frontiers Pupitar Reverse. A very rough, beat up corner, unfortunately. Unseen Forces Reverse, Larvitar. Unseen Forces had the craziest reverse holo pattern because it had the foil and the speckles in the foil, and then at certain angles you can see these Pokeballs in the reverse foil. I believe it's the only set that did anything like that. You can't even see it from every angle, but if you tilt it right, you can see those Pokeballs. Diamond and Pearl Bonsly, Hippopotas, Holo Armaldo from Sandstorm, Reverse Holo Fire Red Leaf Green Slowpoke, Crystal Guardians Spoink, 2 of those, Fire Red Leaf Green Holo Executor, Sandstorm Ralts Reverse, Grumpig from EX Dragon, Banette Holo from Crystal Guardians, Glade Elite 4 Holofoil. This was, I believe this was a deck exclusive because I'm pretty sure this is a non-holo card, but either way, a holo version. Some reverse holos, Nidoran, Toxicroak G for Galactics, Nuzleaf from Sandstorm, Legend Maker Reverse Bellsprout, Legend Maker Reverse Cradily, 2 McDonald's promo Servines, Roserade Holo from Diamond Pearl, Dragon Frontiers Wooper Reverse Holo Delta Species, EX Delta Species Reverse Holo Kakuna, a crazy Holo Bleed. Look at that. The holo is everywhere. Holo Bleed Roserade. I believe this was from the set that this was very, very common to happen. Still super cool nonetheless. Crystal Guardians Cacnea, Fire Red Leaf Green Beedrill. My absolute favorite cards. Well, maybe not my favorite cards, but definitely up there. The Disguise Ditto by my favorite artist, but in reverse holo form. This is like a $15 card just on its own. Most of these are like $5 to $20 for the record, each and every one of them. These stamped reverse holos, at worst, maybe like 3 or 4 for some of the unpopular ones, but $5 to $20 on average for these. Legend Maker Claw Fossil, that would be on the cheaper end realistically. Crystal Guardians Shuppet Reverse. High Pressure System, this one's a little beat up. EX Dragon. Old Amber. AZ, that is a lot more modern than the rest of these. Still kind of cool, but not really. Doesn't really belong with all the rest of these. 2 reverse holo Pokeballs from Crystal Guardians. Unseen Forces with that Pokeball pattern again. Energy Search. Looks insane. It is just so cool. Celio's Network, Crystal Guardians Reverse. This is the single best card in this entire purchase right here. This is the secret rare Here Comes Team Rocket from Team Rocket Returns. This card in near mint, over $100. Moderate play, heavy play versions in the $75 to $85 range. That does need to be sleeved, but all these cards came in this giant box behind me there. Another one of those Disguise Dittos in reverse holo form. This one is worth even more. This one's like $20. Reverse Magikarp, Legend Maker Sfeel, Oshawott Black and White promo, Piplup, very damaged unfortunately. Not really sure what this is. It is a special holo, but I'm not sure what product it came from because that wouldn't normally be a holo in the Diamond and Pearl set, obviously. This card too, this Charmander. This is the secret rare box topper version, 113 out of 112 from Fire Red Leaf Green. In this condition, over $40 for this one card. Another insane one. Ludicolo with that wild holo bleed. Alomomola, this is a I want to say a Burger King promo, because they did Burger King promos during Black and White as well. Either way, it's a little small 12-card subset. Crystal Guardians Reverse War Turtle. Unseen Forces, another one with those Pokeballs. Remoraid. Swampert Holo, Pop Series 1. Manaphy Holo from the Manaphy deck. Also, a fair amount of Holo bleed on that one. Reverse Snorunt, a different Reverse Snorunt. Carvana Reverse. Marshtomp Reverse. Holo Lapras. Reverse Crystal Guardians Torchic. Reverse Slugma. Reverse Feebas Delta Species from Dragon Frontiers. Reverse Talo Delta Species from Dragon Frontiers. Sydney Stadium from Power Keepers. Reverse Crystal Guardians Dual Ball. Pokemon Reversal from Fire Red Leaf Green. Celio's Network from Fire Red Leaf Green. Windstorm from Crystal Guardians. And Old Amber. Not done yet. Keep in mind, this Here Comes Team Rocket and this Charmander are basically the value of what I paid for this entire lot. Just those two cards. I've gone through that entire stack of vintage reverse holos and holos. Obviously, this stuff isn't in the best shape. This Latias Gold Star. Like, this collection was insane. It looked like junk, honestly. Like, I don't blame anyone else for not picking it up before me, because it didn't look great, but it looked like it had some serious potential. I was willing to gamble on it, and it certainly paid off. Torterra Holo. Cacturn Reverse from Sandstorm. This is a holo and a reverse holo Butterfree from Fire Red Leaf Green. Sceptile Holo. Wurmple Reverse. Trico Reverse. Muck Holo. Beedrill Reverse Holo. Crystal Guardian Squirtle Reverse. Luxray. Dragon Frontiers Croconaw. This one is actually worth a bit too. Probably in like the $15 range. Crystal Guardians Electrike. I want to say Burger King. I could be wrong. I know the McDonald's ones easily because they have the M. I think Black and White era they did both McDonald's and Burger King promos though. Another Pop Series 2 Tauros Holo. Holo Dugong from Fire Red Leaf Green. EX Delta Species Staryu. Another Holo Energy, which goes in that pile. This one is unfortunately a little worn. It's got a lot of curvature to it. The rest of them really don't, maybe a slight bit, but this one is super curved, super warped. The edges are really worn. It is not a beautiful card, definitely on the heavy play side, but EX Deoxys had one of the craziest reverse holo patterns. Super, super cool. It was even cooler on the rares. It wasn't a different pattern, but they looked really, really nice in reverse holo, because a lot of the sets they would do the Pokemon's name in gold on some of the reverse rares. Anyways, though, that one is a lot more beat up than the rest of these that I've gone through, but still very cool. Zorua, I'm gonna say Burger King again. Legend Maker Reverse Chinchou. Pelipper Delta Species Reverse. There's that gold name that I was talking about. Ludicolo Delta Species Reverse. Nuzleaf Crystal Guardians Reverse. Seedot Crystal Guardians Reverse. McDonald's Snubble. Plusle Holo from Pop Series 3. Scraggy McDonald's promo. Inkay McDonald's promo. Skuntank from Diamond Pearl. EX Power Keepers Reverse Seviper, and another one of those Ludicolos. This one in worse shape than the last one. It definitely has, it's not bent there, it's just got like a scuff across the corner, but it's not a crease or a bend. It's just, this one's just not as clean as the last. This card is damaged, very damaged in fact. And this is a EX Emerald Milotic Holo. Very unfortunate. It looks like it got folded in half and shoved in a pocket or something, which I don't love to see, and another Crystal Guardians Holo Wigglytuff. I think there were 3 of those total. But yeah, ridiculous collection. I mean, I couldn't have done better if I tried, honestly. Like, it's a lot of smaller stuff, but it's a lot of big stuff too. Like 3 very, very big cards, $40+ and then an entire stack of stuff that's going to be in the neighborhood of, you know, at worst $3 or $4, at best around 20 for everything that I just showed there. Enormous stacks of EX era, of Wizards of the Coast era, Diamond Pearl era, a handful of WotC e-readers, and you know, a lot of good wins for the personal collection as well, especially these. I have the non-reverse holo versions of both of these, but I absolutely love these cards. Super stoked to have reverse holo versions. And actually, I set them aside just because I love them so much. There was a couple of them in non-holo too. Weird that it's just this Charmander and Geodude one. Actually, the Charmander is 2 different ones. You can tell that its arm is in different positions, but yeah, I think the only one of these that I'm missing is the Pikachu, and that one is worth like $10, I want to say, so I can just buy it at any point. But there's, you know, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, for some reason a Geodude one. I like the Geodude one, it just seems out of place with the starters. Anyways though, thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing.